Striker Scorpion 82 is now sponsored by Warhammer Combat Cards, a card battle game featuring your favourite Citadel miniatures from the 40k universe. Build your army decks, dominate opponents in player versus player action, collect and upgrade cards to fit your strategy, improve their power and unlock unique traits. Choose from all 40k factions, take part in campaigns based on iconic 40k battles, rise to the top of the leaderboard and win glory. Free to download and play, link is in the video description below or on the channel homepage, and by using the unique link it helps support the channel. Thanks and enjoy the game. Right, welcome to this review for the new Drukhari Codex. A big thank you to Games Workshop for sending me a copy through ahead of time. So this will be a full review here. We'll go through all of the rules, things like stratagems, warlord traits, special abilities, units and so on. So that'll all be covered. We'll look at some of the points as well for different units in this review. So for discount 40k, check out the channel sponsors here at gamingfigures.com. Be a link for them in the video description below. When it becomes available, you'll be able to get your Drukhari Codex from them at a discounted rate. So we'll flick through all the pages to give you an idea of the start of the Codex, all the artwork and background, storyline and so on, and then we'll get stuck into the rules as well. So I have Drukhari. I've had them for a good while now, and it's an army that I've revamped and brought back. They were shelved for a long time, and then with the 8th edition Codex, and just decided to really put an effort into forming them back into a decent force. And they have done well on the channel, and now we've got a 9th edition Codex for them as well. So this is the new piece of artwork, torturing the Tau by the looks of it. You've still got that eerie feeling about them, the Drukhari, that sort of sinister kind of feel to them. If Eldar are perhaps a bit too clean cut for your liking, then Drukhari might be the option to go for. The rise to power, Comoras, Cabals, witch cults, homunculus covens. That's one of the pieces of artwork I always remember from years ago. Just the Drukhari witches here ambushing a load of guardsmen as they come out of the back of a chimera. Pretty good piece of artwork, that one. Cabal of the Black Hearts. This is the different Cabals that are available. Cabals uncounted. Right, this is others here. Cabal of the Flayed Skull, the Poisoned Tongue, the Obsidian Rose, the Last Hatred, Dying Sun, the Iron Fawn, and the Broken Sigil. Cult of Strife. This is the witch cults here. I think that's new artwork, I think, taking on the Sisters of Battle. That one there. So they've Hesperak's new model. Cults of the Hecatari. Warzone Gaban. New piece of artwork here. Prophets of Flesh. So that's Homunculus covens, the canvas galactic. Fealty's Price. Incubi Shrines. Big fan of the new Incubi models. Some alternate colour schemes here, interesting. It's quite extreme. Carbonite Warrior of the Lords of the Iron Fawn. Interesting colour scheme, I haven't seen that one before. Cyberite of the Cabal of the Flayed Skull, nice colour scheme as well. So I sort of invented mine. You can check out the painting tutorials for it on the channel. It will guide you through, but it's like a metallic colour and then a series of washes over the top, green and blue, to give it sort of an alien kind of feel to it, and some brass effects coming in to it as well. So it's similar, it's like a metallic, in a way, metallic version of that colour scheme there. To a point. Lots of miniature showcasing going on here. Very nicely done. Some examples of different type of witch cult colour schemes as well. That's the homunculus stuff, again taking on the Tau. Fighting the Eldar here. Fighting the Tau again. Taking on the Ashtaminotarum. This is a new setup here, that's with the new Hesperak's model just there. But Drukhari already boasts a great range of miniatures for Games Workshop. Just in recent times, they've redone the Incubi, making them into a plastic kit, which has been a good move. And obviously the arrival of Drazar Master of Blades have that model, incredible model, brilliant, and then the new leather model as well, in plastic. So just a few characters being redone on one of the units. It's already a very impressive range of models for the Drukhari, and looking very much fully up to date as well. So an impressive array of models available for them. So the usual layout then for these new codexes here. We're just over about a third of the way through the book here on page 47. So a fair bit to cover. There's a few areas I might try and speed things up. So detachment abilities then. So Drukhari detachment is one that only includes models from the Drukhari keyword. Drukhari detachments gain the raiding forces and weakling kin abilities. If your army is battle forged, each Drukhari detachment in your army must be designated as a cardboard detachment, witch cult detachment, or homunculus. It's the similar arrangement as before. Your army can only include one real space raid detachment. Real space raid detachments gain the real space raid ability. Troops, units in Drukhari detachments gain objectives secured as per usual. So the raiding force then. If every detachment in your army is a Drukhari patrol detachment, right, this is your multiple patrols, similar idea to the last codex. Change the command point cost those detachments to 0 CP. So multiple patrols, add a big incentive to go for that. All cardboard units in a cardboard detachment gain a Drukhari obsession. Witch cults gain a Drukhari obsession, and then all homunculus coven units gain a Drukhari obsession. So weakling kin. You cannot include Drukhari and non-Drukhari Eldari units in the same detachment unless all those units have the Inari keyword, right? So just similar structure there as before. Real space raid. If a real space raid detachment contains one Archon unit, that is your Warlord, one Succubus unit, and one Homunculus unit, at least one Carbonite Warriors unit, at least one Witches unit, at least one Rax unit, all units excluding Blades for higher units, unless otherwise specified in that detachment, gain a Drukhari obsession. As well as gaining a Drukhari obsession for each Carbon, Witch Cult and Homunculus Coven unit in a real space raid detachment. You can also select an associated Carbon, Witch Cult and Homunculus Coven relics for the units in that detachment, even though your Warlord is not from a Witch Cult or Homunculus Coven. All units in a real space raid detachment gain the real space raider keyword, and you can replace your Warlord's Overlord ability with the following ability, which is Raid Mastermind. While a friendly real space raid core unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time attack is made by a model in that unit to reroll hit rolls of 1. But it's encouraging you to take a little bit of everything here. Yes, and it's one Archon unit is your Warlord, one Succubus unit, and one Homunculus unit, and at least one Carbonite Warriors, Witches and Rax unit. You see, you've got to fulfill all of that in order to gain the benefits. So that's the structural rules here for putting your force together. So then you've got abilities to go for upgrades here, similar to things like Chapter Master and so on for the Space Marines. You pay some extra points or power level and you can upgrade some of your HQ choices, I think. If your army is battle forged, it includes any Drukhari detachments, excluding auxiliary support, super heavy, auxiliary or fortifications. Then when you muster your army, you can upgrade one of the following Drukhari character units, excluding named characters, from each detachment in your army: Archon, Succubus, Homunculus. As if the detachment is a real space raid detachment, you can upgrade one Archon, one Succubus, and one Homunculus unit from that detachment. So again, it's encouraging to go for this multi-spread with the patrols. Make a note on your army roster. Each time you upgrade a unit of these rules, each upgraded unit also gains an additional keyword as described below. So an upgraded Archon unit gains the Master Archon and the Splintered Genius Carbonite Diversion opposite. Any Succubus gains the Master Succubus keyword and the Show Stealer Witch Cult Spectacle opposite. An upgraded Homunculus gains the Master Homunculus keyword and the Alchemical Maestro Homunculus Proclivity opposite. Okay. Each time you upgrade one of the aforementioned units, its power rating is increased as all the points go up. Your army or crusade force can include more than one Master Archon, more than one Master Succubus, and so on. So, Carbolite Diversion. This will cost, this is Splintered Genius, and it will cost 15 extra points to go for this upgrade for your Archon. It may well be worth this, we'll see. Once per battle, at the end of the fight phase, if this model is within engagement range of enemy units, it can fight again. And that already is excellent. If you really want the Archon to get stuck in, fighting twice. I think they start off with like 5 attacks, so it's pretty good. Then you've got relics and warlord traits. So the relic then is Soul Helm. The bearer has the following abilities. Each time an attack is made that targets the bearer, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Each time the bearer would lose a wound, they get a 5+ feel no pain. So it's pretty good. And the warlord trait is Consummate Weapon Master. Add 1 to the damage characteristic of all melee weapons this warlord is equipped with, and again that's another very good relic. +1 damage is fantastic. Very, very good. You combine all that together with your fighting again, it's worth taking that warlord trait. Nice, already off to a good start, I think, for the Drukhari. The Witch Cult Spectacle is Show Stealer. Each time this model makes a consolidation move, it can move an additional 3 inches, so like a 6-inch move, and it does not have to finish this move close to the closest enemy model, so nice bit of flexibility with that as well. It's tactically quite useful. So that's okay, and then we've got Relic, the Dancer's Edge. So it replaces the Archaic Glaive. It gives you +2 strength, AP -4, and 2 damage. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, a modified wound roll of 6. Invuln saving throws cannot be taken against that attack. Nice. And Succubus, having looking at the rules earlier on, 6 attacks base. Incredible. So, good hit, and the Whirling Death. Each time this warlord fights, after any piling moves, until that fight is resolved, you can choose for its attacks characteristic to be equal to 3, plus the number of enemy models within 2 inches of it. Okay. So, a good chance you're going to get more than 6 attacks of that. Starting with 3, and then plunging into a larger unit. And it's after the piling move as well, so... Great. So, not bad at all. Homunculus Proclivity is the word. Alchemical Maestro. Once per battle when this model is destroyed, you can choose to roll 1d6 at the end of the phase instead of using any rolls that are triggered when this model is destroyed. If you do so on a 2+, set this model back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed, but not within engagement range, and you get d3 wounds back. So, again, excellent. 2+ to get back up again. And then the relic is Poisoner's Ampule. Once per battle at the end of the movement phase, the bearer can use this relic. If it does so, select one enemy unit within 9 inches of the bearer. Roll 1d6 on a 2+, the unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. Until the start of your next turn, any aura abilities that the unit has no effect. Until the start of your next turn, the unit cannot be affected by the aura abilities of friendly models. Okay, not bad. And the warlord trait Twisted Animator. In your command phase, you can select one friendly Homunculus Coven Rack unit within 3 inches of the warlord. D3 destroyed models can be added back to the unit. These models can be set up within engagement range of enemy units that are already within engagement range of that unit. And that's excellent as well. D3 models in the command phase. Wow. Looking strong here for the Drukhari. They're pretty good already, but this is an excellent start for them. So Drukhari then, problems with Drukhari is, the benefits for them is like Glass Hammer, so very nimble, very, very quick, which is quite suitable for 9th edition. Toughness and durability can be an issue with them. Like Glass Hammer, they can hit hard, but then can be smashed and broken quite easily. But if you're able to hit very, very hard, and you've got stacks of rules in your favour, then you can strike before the enemy has a chance to cause too much damage. So it may well be the case that this Codex will make the Drukhari not much tougher and resilient than what they were previously, but it may well make them harder hitting, which will be a big advantage. So, favoured retinues. If your army includes a Master Archon and a Master Succubus, you've got to take this stuff here. You can also use the upgraded list below. Each time you upgrade one of those units, now you're starting to upgrade units as well. It's going to cost you a power level, one per 5 models, or 2 points per model for match to play games. So, Carbonite Trueborn, which have appeared before, I think as a separate. Trying to think back perhaps to a couple of codexes ago, it was like a separate entry, but now it's like an upgrade that you can take. For each Master Archon unit in your army, 1 unit of Carbonite Warriors in the same detachment could be upgraded to Carbonite Trueborn. Carbonite Trueborn have a maximum unit size of 10, again the Trueborn keyword. Models in this unit have a ballistic skill characteristic of 2+. Now that's very useful if you're going to equip a unit of things like blasters and blast pistols. +1 leadership. Each time model unit makes a ranged attack, you ignore any and all hit roll and ballistic skill modifiers. That's pretty good. Oh dear. We've barely started and this is looking... it's not like silly, strange little upgrades that aren't really worth very much. You're looking at ignoring all hit roll and ballistic skill modifiers, 2+ ballistic skill. Strong stuff here. Carbonite Trueborn. And it's 2 points a model. Gosh, right, Hecatrix Blood Brides, and this is interesting. For each Master Succubus or Lilith Hesperex unit in your army, 1 unit of Witches can be upgraded to the Blood Brides. Maximum unit of 10. You'll get Weapon Skill 2+, which isn't... If you're still getting the +1 to the hit rolls ability at some point during the game with the cards that can be played, you get a benefit each turn. Then that's not that big a deal, that one. +1 leadership again, and each time an attack is made by a model in this unit would trigger the Blade Artist's ability. See page 89, which is coming up later. The arm penetration characteristic of that attack is increased by 3 instead of 1. So there's a bit of a rend ability going on here. Well. So you can almost see sort of being steered in the direction of going for a patrol of each, reaping in all the benefits, upgrading all the characters, and then taking the unit of each and upgrading them as well. That's what you could end up doing. So the next one is Hemoxitites. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. For each Master Homunculus or Urian Rakarth unit in your army, 1 unit of Rax can be upgraded. So improve the unit's save characteristic and invuln save by 1 to a maximum of 4+. +1 leadership. Once per phase, the first time a saving throw is failed for this unit, the damage characteristic of that attack is changed to 0. Alright, so again, pretty good. Drukhari Cabals, Cults and Covens. Units of Drukhari Cabal, Witch Cult, Homunculus Coven, or Real Space Raid attachments gain access to the following rules. So Cabal, Witch Cult and Homunculus Coven obsessions. So there's more stuff going on here. It's just going to take a fair bit to get organised properly with this. There's quite a lot going on. So Cabal, Witch Cult and Homunculus Coven obsessions. All Cabal, Witch Cult and Homunculus Coven units, including Urian Rakarth and Hesperec units with this ability, gain Drukhari obsession. The obsession gained depends upon which Cabal, Witch Cult and Homunculus Coven they're from, as shown in the following pages. If the Cabal, Witch Cult and Homunculus Coven unit is from one of the Cabals, Witch Cults or Homunculus Covens named in this section, you must use the specified Drukhari obsession. If you have created your own Cabal, Witch Cult and Homunculus Coven, you must instead use the rules in the appropriate section to create an obsession for them. So it's just you're picking your Cabals basically and making sure you've got all the units matching up. Cabal, Witch Cult and Homunculus Coven Warlord traits, same thing, and then specific stratagems as well, and specific relics. Just got to make sure everything matches up, you're not accidentally crossing over stuff from different Cabals and Witch Cults and so on. So it's sort of a roundabout way of covering that. So, Cabal of the Black Heart. Now the ones that I was playing, I think it was this one here. Yeah, recognising some of the stuff. Labyrinth Cunning, Writ of the Living Muse. Yeah, so some familiarity with the 8th edition Codex here. We'll see what the rules are though. So the obsession then is first for power. Units of this obsession that have the power from pain ability, such as Carbonite Warriors, for example, treat the current battle round as being 1 turn higher than it actually is. That's the same as before. If the real space raid attachment includes Carbon of the Black Card Archon, until the end of the battle, all blades for high units in this attachment that have the power from pain ability also treat the battle round, so they're partaking in that bonus as well. Such as, I imagine, blades for hire is going to be units like Incubi and so on. +1 leadership for models for this obsession, and each time a unit in this obsession is selected to shoot or fight, it can reroll 1 hit roll when resolving that unit's attack. So it'll reroll here and there as well. Not bad at all. The Warlord trait is Labyrinth of Cunning. While this Warlord is on the battlefield, each time you or your opponent spends a command point to use a stratagem, you can roll a d6. 6s generate command points. And the Relic Writ of the Living Muse. It's Carbon of the Black Card Archon only. The bearer has the following ability. It's an aura. While a friendly Carbon of the Black Card core unit is within 6 inches of the bearer, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll a wound roll of 1. If the bearer is a real space raider unit, this ability also affects blades for hire units as well. So I think that hasn't really changed, just they've just made it for core units within 6 inches, not all units. So no point running that next to your vehicles, for example, to get reroll 1s to wound, because it's only going to be core units such as Carbonite Warriors. And then you've got a stratagem here as well, Agents of Vect, which costs 0 CP. Use a stratagem, I think it used to cost 4. Use it after your opponent uses a stratagem, excluding the command reroll, till the end of the battle. The CP cost your opponent must pay to use that stratagem again is increased by 1. The stratagem can only be used once. There's a way of trying to make it more expensive for opponent to use one of their stratagems. Okay, could be useful. Only costs you 0 CP, so you may as well play it at some point. Just try and disrupt what your opponent's trying to do with stratagems. Okay, next, Carbon of the Poison. So I could maybe move. I was on that one. Yes, okay. It looks like vehicles have now lost the ability. Previously, you used to be able to get your vehicles to get the Feel No Pain ad, but that seems to have gone. So, looking around to see what else is available here. Carbon of the Poison Tongue. Obsession, the Serpent's Kiss. So each time model this obsession makes an attack with a poisoned weapon, improve the poisoned weapon ability of that weapon by 1 to a maximum of 2+. So for example, a poisoned 4+ becomes poisoned 3+. Pretty good, or very good. If an enemy unit has any models destroyed by an attack made by a poisoned weapon by a model of this obsession, to the end of the turn, it's -1 from combat attrition tests taken for that enemy unit. It's quite rare that happens, but there's that to bear in mind. The Warlord trait is Towering Arrogance. Each time this Warlord would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, it's a 5+ Feel No Pain against that. The Warlord has the following ability, Towering Arrogance Aura. On a friendly Carbon of the Poison Tongue unit within 6 inches of this Warlord, each time a combat attrition test is taken for the unit, ignore any and all modifiers. So, yeah, it's okay. The Soul Seeker Relic. Carbon of the Poison Tongue Archon model equipped with a Splinter Pistol. So you get range 18, pistol 2, strength 2, -2, D3 damage. It's strength 2, but it's poison 2+. Each time you select a target for this weapon, you can ignore the Lookout Sir roll. Nice. And each time an attack is made with this weapon, the target does not receive the benefits of cover. So it's a pretty good pistol. That one, not too bad at all. And obviously it can be used in close combat as well. Insidious Misdirection is the stratagem. 2 command points. Use a stratagem at the start of the battle round, or the first battle round. Select up to 3 poison-tongued units from your army and redeploy them. If the mission uses strategic reserves, any of those units can be placed in strategic reserve without having to spend additional CPs, regardless of how many units are already in strategic reserves. If both players have abilities that redeploy, roll off. The winner chooses. Who redeploys their units first of all. So pretty good. It lets you create your own here as well. Which, because my colour scheme is not, it's sort of my own, I could maybe go into this kind of options here. Carbon of the Flayed Skull. Slay from the Skies. Each time model this obsession that can fly, or that is embarked upon a transport unit that can fly, makes a ranged attack. The target does not receive the benefit of light cover against that attack, and it's +2 inches to vehicle units for movement. Famed Savagery is the Warlord trait, +1 to Warlord strength and attacks, and the relic is Obsidian Veil. Carbal of the Carbal of the Flayed Skull, Archon only. The bearer has a 4+ Invuln save. Masters of the Shadowed Sky, 1 CP. Use a strategy when you select a Carbal of the Flayed Skull unit from your army to shoot with. At the end of the phase, each time the unit makes an attack that targets a unit that can fly, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. If the target's an aircraft unit, add 2 to the attack's hit roll instead. Carbal of the Obsidian Rose. Flawless workmanship is the obsession. Add 6 inches to the range characteristic of all assault, rapid fire and heavy weapons. Each time a unit of this obsession is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 wound roll when making that unit's attacks. Yeah, not bad. And then the Warlord trait is definitely Perfectionist. +1 strength characteristic of weapons this Warlord is equipped with. The Armour of Misery, Relic. The bearer has a 3+ save. And each time a melee attack is made against the bearer, it's -1 to the hit roll. And then finally, failure is not an option. 1 command point, stratagem. Use this stratagem after taking combat attrition tests for a Carbal of the Obsidian Rose unit from your army, but before any models flee. You can shoot with each model that would flee. If the unit is within engagement range of enemy units, each model that would flee can instead make 1 melee attack. If any enemy models are destroyed by these attacks, no models flee from the unit. Treat the morale test as having been passed. Right, okay, so you're trying to kill 1 enemy model, and if you do so, you don't lose any models in return. So it's quite an interesting mechanic with that. Quite rare that you'd need it, I think, but interesting, that one. So other Carbals then. If your chosen Carbal unit does not have an associated Carbal possession above, you can instead create the Carbal possession by selecting 2. Yep. So you can do combos here. These are the options. Dark Mirth. Units of this obsession have the following ability. It's an aura ability. Whilst within 12 inches of this unit, each time an enemy unit is selected to make a normal move, advance or fall back, or is selected to charge, roll 1d6 and a 5+, the enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. Strange. How interesting. You could drive an opponent mad with that. Just keep rolling 5+s all the time. Mortal wounds here and there. Very interesting one. Deadly is... that's worth bearing in mind, that one there. Deadly Deceivers. Have to hand it to Games Workshop. Whoever's producing the rules, these codexes are well thought out. Been mightily impressed by the ones that have come out so far. Blood Angels Codex, the Necron Codex, fantastic sort of mechanics going on with that, and rules, designs and so on. The layout of the codexes is incredible. So it's beautiful work from Games Workshop, do I have to say. And you know, so far reading through this, the rules pretty good. It's a great sort of new stuff been done here. So impressed by what's being seen so far. Deadly Deceivers, all consuming. Units of this obsession are eligible to shoot in a turn in which they fell back, but if they do so, then until the end of the turn, each model unit that makes a ranged attack gets -1 to hit roll, but exceptionally useful. Disdain for lesser beings. Next, each time a combat attrition test is taken for unit of this obsession, it's +1 to combat attrition tests. That one, Merciless Razorkin. Each time model of this obsession makes an attack with a splinter weapon, add 6s to hit, pop, additional hits. So yeah, it's okay. And then Torturous Efficiency. Each time model of this obsession makes an attack with a ranged weapon, unmodified wound roll of 6, improve the AP by 1. Mobile Raiders. Add 2 inches to move characteristic models of this obsession that can fly. Soulbound. Each time model of this obsession would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound. It's 5+ feel no pain. Toxin Crafters, all consuming. Each time model of this obsession makes an attack with a poisoned weapon, unmodified hit roll of 6. Change the attack's poisoned ability to poisoned 2+. And each time model of this obsession makes an attack with a poisoned weapon, reroll 1s to wound. Twisted Hunters. Each time model of this obsession makes an attack against a character unit, add 1 to attack's hit roll. And bother that one. And then Webway Raiders. Each time you use the Webway Portal stratagem, if any units of this obsession are selected, reduce the command points cost to that stratagem by 1. So there's some ones, most of them are okay, some are probably not worth bothering with. There's a few interesting ones there, so you can try and create your own. On to Witch Cults next. Yeah, so they're all... You're getting your your ability, your trait, your relic, and your own unique stratagem here, all detailed on these pages. So in a way, when we come to stratagems, we'll see how many stratagems are available. Yeah, maybe 2 pages. But you've got to factor in all of these others that are spread out across the book as well. Cult of Strife then. The spectacle of murder is the obsession. At the start of the fight phase, unit of this obsession is within engagement range of enemy units. It can fight first that phase. Each time you declare a charge for a unit of this obsession, if there are no other units in your army within engagement range of any of the enemy units selected as targets of that charge, it's +1 to the charge roll. The Warlord trait, Blood Dancer. Each time this Warlord makes a melee attack and unmodified hit roll of a 6, scores 2 additional hits. So pretty good if you're going to stick that on a succubus, for example. 6 attacks and then 6 is pop 2. 2 additional hits. You're going to get hit plus 2 more. Pretty good. And it's not on the charge or anything else, it's just constantly in melee, you get it. Relic, the Fail Bouquet. Cult of Strife, succubus model only. Roll 1d6 at the start of each battle round. Until the end of the battle round, the bearer gains the associated effect of the combat drugs ability table. This effect can be the one that the bearer is already affected by and is cumulative, so you can stack them up, +1 strength and then +1 strength again, for example. No method of death beyond our grasp, 2 command points. Use a stratagem at the end of the shooting phase or the fight phase. Select on Cult of Strife Witches unit from your army. If it is the shooting phase, that unit can shoot again. If it's the fight phase, you can fight again. And you're going to use a stratagem once per battle round. Okay. Cult of the Cursed Blade. The obsession is only the strong will thrive. +1 to the strength of characteristic models of this obsession. Straightforward. Each time you make an unmodified saving throw of 6 for a model of this obsession against a melee attack, after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks, that enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. Warlord trait, Treacherous Deceiver. Each time you make an unmodified saving throw of 4+ for this Warlord against a melee attack, after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks, the enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. The Warlord does not benefit from the second part of the Cursed Blades, only the strong will thrive obsession. And then Relic, Traitor's Embrace. It's succubus model only. If the bearer is destroyed by melee attack, roll 1d6 on 2+. After the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks, it suffers d3 + 3 mortal wounds. God, pretty. God. God, dear me. Wow. That's the icing on the cake, that one. You equip them to be deadly in close combat, and if they are slain, just kick out a load of mortal wounds as they're removed from play. Brilliant. Nice, really like that one. Venomous. Yeah, the potential to cause between 4 and 6 mortal wounds. Terrifying. Venomous Shard Bombs. 1 CP. Use this stratagem after the enemy has declared a charge against a Cult of the Cursed Blade Witches unit from your army. That unit can fire Overwatch before the charge roll is made. When it does so, up to 5 models that unit are equipped with plasma grenades can make attacks with them. Until the end of the phase, plasma grenades this unit is equipped with gain the poisoned weapon 2+ ability. God. Oh, good one. Nice stratagem there as well. Cult of the Cursed Blade. +1 strength. It is useful. With that strength 3. Okay. And then we've got Cult of the Red Grief. The obsession is speed of the kill. Reroll charge rolls made for this unit and +2 to advance rolls made for units of this obsession. So, pretty good. I think it's pretty much the same as it was before. The Warlord trait is Hyper Swift Reflexes. Each time a melee attack is made against this Warlord, on an unmodified hit roll of 1 to 3, the attack fails, irrespective of any abilities, so it's 4+ to hit. Yep, that's very good. Then the Blood Glaive, I've used this before. This is what I was running here actually previously. So succubus, you're replacing the Archaic Glaive. You're getting +2 strength, AP -3, and 3 damage. Pretty good. 3 damage. And then Athletic Aerialists. 1 command point. Use a stratagem after a Cult of the Red Grief infantry unit has resolved its close combat attacks, but before it makes a consolidation move. Instead of consolidating as normal, if every model in this unit is within 6 inches of Cult of the Red Grief transport unit, can embark on the transport instead. I guess you can hop onto a transport vehicle. Quite a tricky manoeuvre to do, but if you set it up right, then that's quite useful, especially with like witch units that can just get blown away very quickly. So other cults then, acrobatic display. Each time a unit of this obsession consolidates or piles in, models in that unit can move horizontally through other models and terrain features. They cannot finish a move on top of another model or its base. So you can jump around and hop over stuff. The Art of Pain. While a unit of this obsession, and you're choosing 2 here by the way. Yep. While a unit of this obsession has the power from Pain ability, is within engagement range of any enemy units, treat the current battle round number as being 1 higher. Add Berserk Fugue. Berserk Fugue. Berserk, I've not come across that word before. Fugue. So, if you know how to pronounce it, apologies, but it's Berserk something. Each time model this obsession makes a melee attack, if that model's unit makes a charged move, was charged or performed a heroic intervention this turn, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores and additional hits. You're popping extra hits. And each time model this obsession would lose a wound as a result of mortal units. 5+ is ignoring those wounds. Precise Killers. Each time model this obsession makes a melee attack, that attack benefits from the Blade Artist ability on an unmodified roll of a 5+ instead of a 6. Slashing Impact. Some of these are quite good actually. Slashing Impact. Each time model this obsession makes a charge or finishes a charge move, you can select 1 enemy unit, excluding vehicles, within engagement range, and roll 1d6. On a 6, the enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. That's that great. Stimulant Innovators. It is good. It is good. Each time a model of this obsession finishes a charge move, you can select 1 enemy unit within engagement range and roll 1d6. Yeah. So I think you're rolling a dice per model. So 10 witches charging in is 10 dice trying to get 6s to cause mortal wounds. If that is the case, then that is very good. It's not going to work against vehicle units, but vehicles are not as common in 40k at the moment, so you're often going to be up against infantry of all types. And usually witches, for example, are going to be plunging into infantry anyway, so 6 for mortal wounds per model, I believe. That one's quite nasty. Stimulant Innovators. Once per battle in your command phase, you can declare that units with this obsession will use their experimental concoctions. When you do so, roll 1d3 in the combat drugs table. Every unit of this obsession that has the combat drugs ability gains additional ability, which is cumulative with any abilities they already have to the end of the turn. Test of Skill. Each time model of this obsession makes a melee attack that targets a monster or vehicle, it's +1 to attack's wound roll. Trophy Takers. Each time a morale test is taken for an enemy unit that had any models destroyed by melee attack by unit of this obsession, roll an additional d6 and discard the lowest. Probably not worth taking that one. Agile Hunters All Consuming. Each time a model of this obsession makes an attack that targets a unit that can fly, it's +1 to the hit roll, so it sort of cancels out the -1 to hit. And if they have it, because there's obviously a lot of fly units that don't have the -1 to hit them, such as Assault Marines, for example. You can be on +1 to hit them. And then if a unit with this obsession with combat drugs ability has the Hypex ability, add 4 inches to this unit. 4 inches to this unit's move characteristic instead of 3. Then on to Homunculus Covenants. So we've got the Prophets of Flesh first of all. At the start, I don't collect these ones at all, but we'll run through their rules. Obsession, Connoisseurs of Pain. First of all, at the start of your command phase, each character, grotesque or monster unit with this obsession regains a lost wound. Each time a unit that made an attack, each time an attack is made against a unit of this obsession, unless the attack has a strength characteristic of 8 or more, unmodified wound rolls of 1 to 3 always fail, irrespective of any abilities. The Warlord trait, Diabolical Soothsayer, and when this model is on the battlefield, choose one of the below. until the end of the battle, +1 to the warlord's toughness and wounds. To the end of the battle, +1 to the warlord's movement and attacks. And then the relic is the Vexator Mask. Prophets of Flesh Homunculus model only. Enemy units cannot fire Overwatch at the bearer. At the start of the fight phase, you can select one enemy unit within 3 inches of the bearer. The unit is not eligible to fight this phase until all other units from your army have done so. And then Sin's Writ Large is the stratagem. It costs 1 or 2 command points. Use the stratagem at the start of the fight phase. Select one Prophets of Flesh infantry unit from your army within 6 inches of a friendly Prophets of Flesh Homunculus unit. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack is made by this Prophets of Flesh infantry unit, you can reroll the hit roll. If it's a grotesque unit, it costs 2 CP instead of 1. Next is the Dark Creed. Obsession, Distillers of Fear. So there's again the Aura of Terror. Aura ability. While an enemy unit is within 6 inches of a unit of this obsession, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic and subtract 1 from combat attrition tests as well. Nice. Each time you make, but morale doesn't occur that much. Failed morale tests quite rare. Usually it's a couple of models here and there fleeing. So I don't think morale is one of the stronger aspects to lean towards here. Each time you make a melee attack with a unit of this obsession that targets a unit of a leadership characteristic is equal to or lower than attacking unit's leadership characteristic, add 1 to the attack's hit roll. And then the Warlord trait is Fear Incarnate. At the end of the movement phase, you can select one enemy unit within 9 inches of the Warlord and roll 3d6. If the result is greater than the enemy's leadership characteristic, which is quite likely, to the start of your next movement phase, that enemy unit cannot perform actions. If the unit is currently performing an action, it immediately fails. It loses the objective secured ability as well. And then Relic Spirit Sting. It replaces the Stinger pistol. You get range 12, pistol 3, strength 2, -3, 1 damage. It's poison 2+. And then each time an attack is made with this weapon, invuln saves cannot be taken against the attack. And then the Esoteric Kill, delivered from afar. Stratagem. 2 or 3 command points. Use the stratagem when you select a Dark Creed Core or Dark Creed character unit from your army to shoot with. To the end of the phase, each time you select a target for an attack made by this unit, you can ignore the Lookout Sir roll. If the selected unit is a Telos unit, the stratagem costs 3 CP. Otherwise it's 2. So you've got one more coven here, the Coven of 12, and then you've got your own that you can put together as well. Butchers of Flesh is the obsession. Each time model of this obsession makes an attack with a melee weapon, excluding relics, improve the AP characteristic of that attack by 1. Units of this obsession performing an action, you can still make attacks with ranged weapons without the action failing. It's very helpful. Warlord trait is Scarlet Epicurean. Each time an attack is allocated to this Warlord, subtract 1 for the damage characteristic of that attack to a minimum of 1. The Flensing Blade replaces the Homunculus tools. It gives you strength for the user AP -2 and D3 damage. It's poison 2+. And each time you fight against a character with that weapon, it's damage of 3 instead of D3. And then stratagem is a most inventive demise, 1 command point. Use the stratagem after a Coven of the 12 Homunculus unit from your army consolidates. Select one enemy character model, excluding vehicle monster models, that is within engagement range of the Homunculus unit, and roll 1d6. On 2 to 5, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. On a 6, it's D3 plus 6 mortal wounds. Next is other covens. Yeah. So we'll check these out here. Artists of the Flesh, all consuming. Each time an attack is allocated to model this obsession, excluding vehicles, subtract 1 for the damage characteristic of that attack. Pretty good. Dark Harvest. Each time a unit of this obsession finishes a charge move, you can select one enemy unit, excluding vehicles, within engagement range, roll d6 and a 4+. They take mortal wounds. That's okay. Dark Technomancers, all consuming. Each time a unit of this obsession is selected to shoot, you can shoot to enhance any or all of the ranged weapons models in the unit are equipped with. If you do so until the end of the phase, each time an attack is made with an enhanced weapon, add 1 to the attack's wound roll and add 1 to the damage characteristic of that attack. But the attack's hit roll cannot be re-rolled. If any unmodified hit rolls of 1 are made for attacks with an enhanced weapon, the bearer's unit suffers a mortal wound after shooting with this weapon. If the bearer is a vehicle or monster model, it suffers D3 mortal wounds instead. Interesting one. An experimental creations, +1 strength characteristic, hungry for flesh, reroll charges, masters of mutagens. Each time model of this obsession makes a melee attack with a poisoned weapon, excluding relics, that targets unit that is not a vehicle or titanic, a modified hit roll of a 6 automatically wounds the target. Master Torturers, each time unit of this obsession is selected for the Torturer's craft stratagem, reduce the command point cost of that stratagem by 1. Obsessive Collectors, each time an enemy unit is destroyed by a melee attack made by a unit of this obsession, a model in that attacking unit can regain D3 lost wounds. Nice. Each model can only be healed once per turn. If the attacking unit is a rack unit, D3 destroyed models can be added back to the unit. These models can only be set up within engagement range of enemy units that are already within engagement range of this unit and no longer count as having been destroyed for the purposes of morale test this turn. Enhanced sensory organs, each time model of this obsession makes an attack, the target does not receive the benefits of light or heavy cover. And finally, splinter blades, each time model of this obsession makes an attack with a melee weapon, a modified hit roll of a 6 scores an additional hit. So that's those. There's a lot of options here. It's going to take a lot of thinking through. There's so many combinations to go for. Loads and loads and loads of rules here. And that's just like the different traits, the different options here, different attachments. Okay, so a lot of stuff. See, the thing is, like with, well, I guess because you've got Necrons, they've got their own dynasties and so on, they've got their own special rules. So fair's fair. Yeah. And the unique stratagem is in with this profile instead of being towards the end of the stratagems section. So they've brought it across. So I'm thinking of the Necron one, for example, the stratagems are sort of near the stratagems, but they've pulled them in here just to give you a full page of everything to do with this particular Oculus Coven, for example. So it's a good idea to have it all in one place. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so we've got an example of a real space raid here, just showing you the structure of how this works. So they're giving an example of it here. So Succubus, Court of Strife, there's your HQ, there's your troop, and you can then take 2 fast attack and a dedicated transport. So I think it's just you're able to add in Incubi and Scourges here. So I think you're able to add in your base as a patrol, see the triple patrol, and that gives you a real space raid, telling you how the structure has to be done to get that ability. So we'll move past that. I think that's quite straightforward. Right, stratagems. 3 pages, plus the extras that we've seen. It's about 4, so it's pretty much as expected, really. So we'll go through these. I'm not going to go through in detail absolutely everything in this book. When we come to the units, I reckon I'll sort of semi-skip through them, looking for any changes that have taken place. I've seen there's a fair few, so some units have been improved and so on, so I'll try and pick that out instead of going through all the stat lines and all the rules, which will make this video too long. So we'll do it that way, try and skim the best of that is to be seen here. Stratagems then. Okay, so you're figuring out the structure of your army, all your benefits and warlord traits and relics and so on, and now during the game you're looking for stratagems that can really help you force out. So we're looking for some golden nuggets here. Usually there is. Necrons have some great ones. Blood Angels do. So we're expecting sensible. There's no real deal breakers like they were in some of the 8th edition codexes. We're just expecting some decent ones, and then a handful of golden nuggets is the usual here. Cruel Deception then. 1 or 2 command points. Use the stratagem in your movement phase when a Drukhari unit from your army falls back. You can select for this unit to be eligible to shoot in this turn or eligible to declare a charge. Or both. If you select both, it costs you 2, otherwise it's 1. And immediately, it's an excellent stratagem. That is very, very good. Excellent. And very flexible. If you just want to pull back and shoot, just pay 1 command point. If you want to pull back, shoot and charge, pay 2. Brilliant. I think that's going to be a popular one. Very, very good indeed. Very, very good, that one. Brilliant stratagem. Okay, we've struck gold already. Very good. The Great Enemy, 1 command point. Use the stratagem in the fight phase. This is against Slaanesh. When a Drukhari unit from your army is selected to fight until the end of the phase, each time model in the unit makes an attack against a Slaanesh unit, you can reroll the hit roll and the wound roll. So, obviously don't like Slaanesh very much. The Torturer's Craft, 1 or 2 CP. Use the stratagem in the fight phase when Urian Rakav or a Homunculus Coven unit from your army is selected to fight. To the end of the phase, each time model in the unit makes an attack, you can reroll the wound roll. Great. If the stratagem is used when a character or Rax unit contains 10 or more models, it costs 2 CP instead. You've got lightning fast reactions. This now costs 1 command point. Use the stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase when a Drukhari infantry, Drukhari vehicle, or Drukhari bike unit from your army, excluding Urian Rakav and Homunculus Coven unit, is selected as the target of an attack. Yeah, it's -1 to hit roll. Yeah, so it's pretty much the same roll, but cheaper. It used to cost 2, I believe. Yeah, it did. Eldar had the same one. So it only costs you 1 command point now. Great. Brilliant. So it's not a real deal breaker, that one. But it's a good stratagem, nice and cheap. Hunt from the Shadows, 1 CP. Use the stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase when a Drukhari unit from your army that has the benefits of light cover is selected as the target of a ranged attack. To the end of that phase, add an additional 1 to the unit's saving throws. Nice. Yeah, exceptionally useful, because one of the changes, Carbonite Warriors now have a 4+ save. Stick them in light cover, 3+ save. Play that stratagem, 2+ save. Well. Nice. These are good. Alliance of Agony next. Use your stratagem before the battle when you're mustering your army. If your order has a real space Raider Archon, select 1 Succubus model from your army and 1 Homunculus model from your army, excluding named characters, and determine 1 warlord trait for each of those models. This must be a warlord trait it can have. Those models are only regarded as your warlord for the purposes of the warlord trait. Each warlord trait in your army must be unique. If randomly generated, reroll duplicates. You cannot use a stratagem to give a model 2 warlord traits. Fine. I think you pay 1 CP to get 2 extra warlord traits. 1 for the witch cult, 1 for the succubus, and 1 for the homunculus model. Next is Tolerated Ambition, 1 CP. Use a stratagem before the battle. When you're mustering your army, if your warlord has a Drukhari keyword, select 1 Drukhari character model from your army, excluding named characters, and determine 1 warlord trait for it. That model, it is only regarded as your warlord for the purposes of that warlord trait. So it says here you can only use the stratagem once, unless you're playing a strike force size battle, in which case you can use it twice, or an onslaught battle 3 times. So there's that option there as well. And then prizes for the Dark City, I think this is going to be your relics, so taking extra relics. Webway Portal, 1 or 3 CP. Use the stratagem before the battle when declaring reserves and transports. If you're playing a mission without this step, use the stratagem during deployment instead. If you spend 1 CP, you can set up 1 Drukhari infantry bike or beast unit from your army in the webway instead of placing it on the battlefield. If you spend 3 CP, you can place 2 Drukhari infantry bike or beast units in the webway instead. And it's just a deep strike down onto the battlefield. Pain Siphon, 1 CP. Use a stratagem when a Drukhari unit from your army that is within 6 inches of a friendly Kronos unit destroys an enemy unit with a melee or ranged attack until the end of the battle. That Drukhari unit always treats each battle round as if it was battle round 5 for the purposes of power from pain. Okay, and Eviscerating Flyby costs 1 or 2 CP. Use your stratagem in your movement phase when you select a witch cult unit that can fly to make a normal move or advance. So okay, so that's going to be your the Reavers, the bikers, and it could be the Hellions as well, because it doesn't say Reavers now. It's just a witch cult unit that can fly. To make a normal move or advance. After the unit has moved, select 1 enemy unit this unit moved across, roll 1d6 for each model in that unit. Adding 1 to the result if the enemy unit is infantry. For each 5+, the enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. If If the selected witch cult unit contains 5 or fewer models, it's 1 CP, otherwise it's 2. It's never stationary. Yes, just backtrack here. I'm just going to look at this one. I may have struck gold again. Use the strategy movement phase. When you select a witch cult unit that can fly, so I've got 10 Reavers. I'm going to pay 2 CPs for this. And I've just buzzed across an enemy unit. After this unit is moved, select one enemy unit this unit moved across and roll 1d6 for each model in that unit. No. Just trying to figure out which way around this is. Do you roll a d6 for each model in your unit? I think you do, because otherwise why would it cost so much? Instead of rolling a dice for each enemy model, for example. Because if it is the case that you're rolling for each model that you have, so 10 Reavers, 10 rolls, then you may have a character sniping ability here. After this unit is moved, select one enemy unit this unit moved across and roll 1d6 for each model in this unit. Yeah, similar wording to the previous stratagem. I think you're rolling per model in your own unit for this. Adding 1 to the result if the enemy unit is an infantry unit for each roll of a 5+. So if you've got an infantry character model, it's going to be 4 pluses. 4 pluses on 10 dice, you're going to get him. It's a mortal wound each time. If that is the case, that one is very, very powerful. Very dangerous, that one. Yeah, could pick off characters quite easily if you took a larger unit of bikers. Which is quite rare actually, but because I run sort of smaller units, but that might work quite well. Never stationary, 2 CP. Or 10 Hellions, for example, they could do a good job. 2 CP. Use your strategy in your shooting phase after making attacks with a Drukhari unit, excluding aircraft, from your army. This unit immediately make a normal move up to 7 inches. At the end of the turn, it's not eligible to declare a charge, so it's like fire and fade type thing going on with that one. Prey on the weak, 1 CP. Use your strategy in your shooting phase or the fight phase when Drukhari core unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight. At the end of the phase, each time model in this unit makes an attack. If that attack targets a unit that was below its starting strength, when this unit was selected to shoot or fight, reroll a hit roll of 1. If that unit targets a unit that was below half strength, when this unit was selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll the hit roll. And then Screaming Jets, 1 command point. Use this stratagem before the battle. So you take a Drukhari vehicle units and you can deep strike them in. With that one, similar to the previous Codex. Deadly Rivals, 2 CP. Use this stratagem in your command phase. Select 1 Reavers unit from your army and 1 Hellions unit from your army that are within 12 inches are visible to each other. To the end of that turn, +1 to the movement characteristic of models in that unit. And each time model in these units makes an attack with a melee weapon, you can reroll the hit roll. Great. Yeah, good. So great stratagems so far. There's another page of them here. So about another 9 or 10 of them to cover. But so far, so good. And in general, across this codex, just looks to be a decent codex here. And we've got this to cover as well. Chapter approved rules. Noticing that the 8th edition armies, 8th edition codexes where this isn't an option, some of the factions are really crying out for these here. Orcs, Admech, for example. It's been sometimes a bit of a struggle to choose secondaries. Whereas armies like Space Marines and Necrons and so on, they can draw from this, and it really does help out because a lot of these fit very nicely with sort of the theme of each of the factions. So this will be interesting to check these out. Quite crucial for winning games as well, the choice of secondaries. So anyway, Swift out flanking 1 CP. Use the strategy at the end of the movement phase. Select 1 Drukhari transport unit from your army that's holding within 9 inches of a battlefield edge. Remove that unit from the battlefield. It's placed into reserve. Nice. Very interesting that one. Nice. Move to the edge of the battlefield, pull it away, put it into reserves, and then land somewhere else on the board. Very useful. Murderous Descent, 1 CP. Use a strategy from the reinforcement step after a transport unit from army is been set up on the battlefield. Any units embarked within that transport can disembark after it is set up. When they do so, they must set up more than 9 inches away from enemy models. Another brilliant stratagem. Crazy. So deep strike in, disembark with the models, and there's no restriction. You can shoot and charge, just so long as you deploy more than 9 inches away from enemy models, as per usual. Well, well, well. Another good one. Cheap as well. Pray they don't take you alive. Use the stratagem in the fight phase when an enemy warlord unit is destroyed by a melee attack made by a Drukhari unit from your army. At the end of the battle, each time a combat attrition test is taken for an enemy unit, subtract 1 from that combat attrition test. So, and the Codex looks to be fun. These stratagems are very cool and they're very fun here. They get an impact on the game and they look to be good fun as well. So able to do some new stuff here with the use of these stratagems. Enhanced staff of sales, 1 command point, use a stratagem movement phase and a raider or ravager unit from your army is selected to advance. Do not make an advance roll, it's a guaranteed 8 inches instead. Crucible of Malediction, 2 CP, use a stratagem in psychic phase, select 1 homunculus unit from your army, roll 1d6 for each enemy psycho within 12 inches on a 4+. It's D3 mortal wounds for that psycho. You can only use a stratagem once. At Haywire grade on CP, so it's enemy vehicle unit, you roll to hit it within 6 inches, it's D3 mortal wounds if you get the hit. The Hyperstim Backlash, 2 CP, use your stratagem in your command phase, select on which cult unit from the combat drugs ability from your army. Till the next command phase, each effect of the combat drugs ability from your army is doubled. So this is a repeat of before. So for example, +1 toughness is +2 toughness. A model with the Fire Bouquet relic cannot be selected for this stratagem. Now, of models affected by that combat drug instead of 1. Yeah, there's no penalty to pay here. I think on the previous stratagem, you had to then roll dice, and only ones you took mortal wounds, but there's nothing. You just get the bonus, and there's no penalty for doing it. Alright, and you'll already know what your combat drugs ability is, so you know what you're paying for with that. Okay, interesting. You use it in your command phase. That's the point when you use that stratagem. Shock Prow. This is for the front of the vehicles. Use the stratagem in the charge phase when Drukhari Shock Prow unit from your army finishes a charge move. Select 1 enemy unit of engagement range of that Shock Prow unit. If the selected enemy unit is a vehicle, roll 1d6. On a 2+, it's D3 mortal wounds. If it's not a vehicle, roll 1d6 for each model in that enemy unit that is within engagement range of the Shock Prow unit. Each dice result that equals or exceeds the enemy unit's toughness suffers a mortal wound. Oh, God. Within engagement range. That's a bit scary. Equals or exceeds the toughness characteristic. God, you plunge into a unit of guardsmen, just electrocute all of them on a 3+ for 1 CP. Struck gold again. It'll be a gold rush here to get this Codex. Very, very good. Potent metal toxins, 2 CP. Use your stratagem in your shooting phase or the fight phase when you select a Drukhari unit for your army to shoot or fight. To the end of that phase, each time an attack is made with a poisoned weapon, excluding relics by that unit. The ability does not exclude vehicles, though it does still exclude Titanic. Right, so all of a sudden you can poison vehicles. Huh. Right, okay. Potent metal toxins. Right, so you can get the poisoned ability on vehicles. It's quite costly at 2 CP, but it could be a real game changer, that one, if needed. Nice, so a nice healthy spattering of stratagems and some very, very good ones in there indeed. Chapter approved then, so you've got to pick one of these as your secondary. So from Purge the Enemy, we have Take Them Alive. If you select this objective, you score victory points at the end of the battle for each of the following that apply. Score 3 victory points if any character or monster units were destroyed by a melee attack made by a Drukhari unit from your army during the battle round. Score 1 victory point if any units excluding character, monster or vehicle units were destroyed by an attack made by a Drukhari unit from your army during that battle round. So it's killing stuff in melee. The other secondary is just killing characters and you get 3 victory points. This one they have to be killed in melee, but then the bonus is that you're getting the ability to score points if you're destroying other units. It's okay. We'll see the others here. Beasts for the arenas. End game objective. Score 3 victory points at the end of the battle for each enemy monster, cavalry or beast unit that was destroyed by a melee attack by a witch cult unit from your army. If the enemy unit was titanic, score 5 victory points instead. So again, you've got to kill them in melee. Okay. Not too blown away here. Fear and terror. This is a lot of fluff, and then just 2 lines of rules here. Score 1 victory point at the end of the battle round for each model that fled from an enemy unit during that battle round. Okay, very fitting. Morale quite well. I find it quite rare that models flee. Yeah, that's appropriate depending on what enemy you're up against, I think, with that one. Battlefield Supremacy next. Herd the Prey. Score 2 victory points at the end of your turn for each table cause that does not have any enemy units, excluding aircraft units wholly within it. This objective cannot be scored in the first battle round. So that's like Purge the Vermin. Yeah, just clearing table quarters. Table quarter, yeah. And that one for the Necrons has done very well for me. So that one's, I think, one of the stronger ones. Just clearing table quarters. You've got a swift army that can clear stuff, kill stuff very quickly, and just rake in the points for it. That one for Drukhari, I think, is a good one. So Herd the Prey, I think, is the one that I would go for. I think that's the one. Right, so we've now got warlord traits here. Your generic ones. So if a Drukhari character model is your warlord, you can use the Drukhari warlord trait table opposite to determine what warlord trait they have. Unless otherwise stated, cardboard models must have the cardboard keyword, so on and so on. Hatred Eternal then. Each time this warlord makes an attack, you reroll the hit roll and the wound roll. That is excellent. Any attack. So that's close combat or shooting. No. Yep, I think so. Reroll hits and wounds for melee and shooting. Pretty good. Soul first. Add 1 to attack's characteristic of this warlord. And then once per turn, when an enemy model that is within 6 inches of this warlord is destroyed, you regain a wound. And then Ancient Evil. At the start of the fight phase, you can select 1 enemy unit within engagement range of this warlord. That unit is not eligible to fight until all other eligible units from your army have done so. So you can force them to fight last. But Hatred Eternal is a no-brainer, right? Depending on what they're equipped with. Blast Pistol, for example, would be good. Witch Cult then, warlord traits, Quicksilver Fighter, +2 attacks characteristic. So you get an 8 attack succubus now. Huh? Very good. Oof, boy. Stim Addict. I've got it looks here like Drukhari players are going to be spending a lot of points pre-game on abilities, extra relics, extra warlord traits, and buffing stuff up here. I think this is the way it's going to go. That's another good one. These top 2 here, brilliant. The Stim Addict then. When determining the effects of the combat drugs ability for this warlord before the battle, roll 2 additional dice, rerolling results of 6 or less that are already in effect. This warlord combat drugs ability has these benefits in addition to any others. Then Precision Blows. Each time modified hit roll of a 6 is made for an attack made by this warlord, the target unit suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the damage characteristic of the weapon used for that attack. The attack sequence ends. So particularly dangerous if you've got a high damage weapon, such as the Cult of the Red Grief Archite Blade of damage 3. Boy, each time an unmodified hit roll of a 6 is made for a melee attack. So say you take that weapon. Just checking to see if you can use it on relics. I think so. So let's say you've attacked that weapon. 6 attacks, you've rolled 2 6s. What happens? Each time modified hit roll of a 6 is made for a melee attack made by this warlord, the target unit suffers a number of mortal wounds equal to the damage characteristic of the weapon used for that attack. Yeah, so you cause, you roll 6 dice, you get 2 6s for that relic weapon. You're going to get 6 mortal wounds of it. That's utterly ridiculous. Oh boy, I might need to tone. This is quite powerful stuff going on here. Codex creep strikes again, perhaps. Here, Homunculus Coven Warlord traits, Master Regenesis. If that's true, that's madness, that one. So there's some combos out there, I think, for Drukhari. They're going to scare the life out of opponents, I think. Homunculus Coven and Warlord traits. Each time this Warlord uses their Fleshcraft ability, the target model regains up to 3 lost wounds instead of D3. Master Nemesine. Each time this Warlord makes an attack, add 1 to that attack's wound roll. And Master Artisan. +1 toughness, +1 wounds for the Warlord. But the Witch Cult stuff, some amazing stuff going on with those. Very impressive. Relics next, sort of your standard relics then that you're able to take here. So we'll go straight into these. Parasite's Kiss. It's a splinter pistol replacement here. It's range 12, pistol 3, strength 2, -2, 2 damage. It's poison 2+. Each time a new model is destroyed by an attack made by this weapon, the bearer regains a lost wound. The Helm of Spite. In your opponent's psychic phase, the bearer can attempt to deny one psychic power as if it were a psyker. If that psychic power is successfully denied, the psyker attempting to manifest it suffers perils of the warp. The Nightmare Doll. Homunculus model only. Each time the bearer would lose a wound, roll 1d6 and a 4+, the wound is not lost. Okay. Pretty good. Very good actually. 4+, feel no pain. Lose a wound. Yeah, not a mortal wound. Very good. The Gin Blade replaces the Husk Blade actually. +1 strength, 8 3 damage. Each time the bearer fights, it makes 2 additional attacks with this weapon. Nice, that's going to give an Archon 7 attacks, I believe. At the end of the fight phase, roll 1d6 if the bearer made any attacks with this weapon. On a 1, the bearer suffers a mortal wound. And then Animus Vitae, it's a grenade, 6-inch range. The bearer can only shoot with this weapon once per battle. If it hits, the target unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. If the target unit has 11 or more models, it suffers D3 plus 3 mortal wounds instead. To the end of the turn, friendly units with the Power from Pain ability treat the current battle round as being 1 higher than it actually is when determining what effects they gain. Okay. Very good. And then the Triptych Whip. Succubus model, Agonizer replacement, gives you strength for the user, 8 -3, 2 damage. It's poison 2+, and each time the bearer is selected to fight, it's +3 to their attacks characteristic. So like 9 attacks with the Succubus, and damage 2 as well. Scary stuff. God. On to Crusade rules. I don't do Crusade, so I'll move past this here. So just running through. That's the piece of artwork that I originally based my colour scheme on. It's just like that blue-green metallic kind of armour. That's what I wanted to try and replicate for my force. Spoils of battle, Crusade relics and so on. An example of a Crusade army. Yeah, very good. And then on to data sheets then. So we'll go through these. I think these seem to have not changed very much here. The abilities, Power from Pain, combat drugs and so on. We'll go through them, double check, but I think this kind of stuff will be familiar. There's not much change taking place here. So Power from Pain then. Each battle round you're unveiling an ability here. So on battle round 1, start of each battle round, you get this immediately. So inert to suffering, models in this unit have a 6+ invuln save straight away. Usually your stuff's in like transports anyway, so okay. Then number 2, or turn 2 onwards, eager to flay, and these are cumulative, you know, once each one's unlocked, so they will start stacking up. Units with this ability. This unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which they advance to charge, very helpful. Flensing Fury. Each time model this unit makes a melee attack, add 1 to that attack's hit roll. If this unit has the vehicle monster keyword, it does not suffer the penalty incurred to its hit rolls for firing heavy weapons at enemy units that are within engagement range of it. Then number 4, Mantle of Agony. Models in this unit have a 5+ Invuln save. So Invuln save starts improving. So this has changed. And then Emboldened by Bloodshed on turn 5+. Each time a morale test is taken for this unit, it's automatically passed. If this unit's characteristics can change as it suffers damage, this unit is considered to have double the number of wounds. This is helping out vehicles, for example. Poisoned weapons. So that's that one. There are some changes to that. Poisoned weapons. Many Drukhari weapons have the poisoned ability. So with a value of 4+ or 2+, for example, each time an attack is made by a poisoned weapon against unit excluding vehicle or Titanic, and a modified wound roll of this value is always successful. Yeah. Blade Artist, one of the new rules here. Each time model this unit makes an attack with a melee weapon, unmodified wound roll of 6 is an extra AP -1. So it's going to help out things like witches with Hekatari blades. Not that great. You can get a little bit of a rend on there on 6s to wound, which is helpful enough. Just a little extra bonus. Insensible to Pain. That's a 5+, feel no pain. And then Combat Drugs. So that's units like witches, Reavers, Hellions, those kind of units, getting those bonuses. So you choose. I think it's similar to before. You can randomly go for it, or you can choose, I believe. You can select, yeah. Alternative, you can randomize. Let's just check something here. Just want to read this through because, just to clarify whether it's changed or the same. Units of this ability gain additional abilities depending on which combat drugs they're using during the battle. Before the battle, determine what additional abilities are granted to each unit from your army with the combat drugs ability. You can select one of the abilities from the table below for that unit. Alternative, you can randomly determine 2 abilities from the table. It has changed. So you, yes, so you can choose, and there's no having to go for all of them anymore. You can just choose, if you've got 3 witch units, for example, you can just choose Painbringer for all of them. If you go random, you're going to get 2. So you do get random, but you get 2 bonuses going on with that. So that's a tricky choice. Yeah. So they are, I think this has pretty much stayed the same. Adrenalite. Each time this unit fights, we've made a charge move or performed heroic intervention this turn. Then, until that fight is resolved, add 1 to attack's characteristics, +1 attack. Grave Lotus. Add 1 to the strength characteristic of models in this unit. Hypex, add 2 inches to the move. Painbringer, add 1 to the toughness. Serpentine, +1 weapon skill. And then Splinter Mind, improve the ballistic skill by 1. So they've got rid of the leadership one that used to be in here. And they've given you the +1 ballistic skill instead, I believe. So that's improved. And I think if I had witches, they're all useful. So I'd go random, I reckon. Interesting, okay. Very good. So we're on to units now. I'm not going to go through all these stats because it's going to take a long time. I'm just going to skim through and pick out any changes that I see, just to give you sort of a general idea of things that have and haven't changed. So that'll hopefully give you an idea of how units have it's been improved or not improved, or what's stayed the same, what's changed, and so on. So going through here, Archon, then we'll look at some points a little bit later on. Games Workshop said I can't cover all the points, I'll just sort of cover some of them. But Archon's here then. The Steel Movement 8, 5 wounds, 5 attacks base, 4 up save. The Blast Pistol is still 6-inch range, Strength 8 -4 and D6 damage. It's still a nasty weapon. The Agonizer is AP -3 now, poisoned 4+. The Husk Blade is strength for the user, AP -2 and 2 damage. Power Sword's the usual now, +1 strength, AP -3, 1 damage. And the Venom Blade is poison 2+, AP -1 strength for the user, 1 damage. Comes with things like Power from Pain and the Blade Artist's ability. The Overlord Aura, while a friendly Cobble Core or Incubi unit is within 6 inches of this model, so acting like a bodyguard unit makes sense. Each time an attack is made by a model in that unit, its reroll hit rolls are 1, so excellent. Shadowfield remains, 2+ Invuln save. This Invuln save can never be re-rolled. The first time it's failed, the abilities at the end of the battle, the ability has no effect. Yeah, so the rules haven't changed for that, but still keeping that tricky 2+ Invuln save. So Archon's solid enough. Great. Brilliant. Succubus. And 2+ weapon skill, ballistic skill. Same here for her. 5 wounds, 6 attacks, as I said earlier on. Brilliant. Covered all the weapons. Standard Archaic Glaive is +2 strength, 8 -3, but only 1 damage. So definitely looking for relics and so on to try and improve that. And she can take blast pistols. Got the Blade Artist, Combat Drugs, Power from Pain abilities. Now, it's Witch Cult core units within 6 inches. They reroll wound rolls of 1 in close combat. She's still got the dodge of 4+ Invuln, and there's no escape rule. Each time an enemy unit, excluding Titanic units, is within engagement range of this model, it's selected to fall back. So you can do this to vehicles. Roll off of your opponent, subtracting 1 from your opponent's roll if this model is equipped with a shard net and impaler. If you win, the unit cannot fall back this turn. Yeah, it's only Titanic's not pinned down now, so it looks like you can lock vehicles down. So that could be one of the jobs for Witch Cult units now. If that's the case, that's a big improvement. Homunculus, I don't know much about them. 6 wound model, 4 wounds. Sorry, 6 wounds, 4 attacks. Yeah, 7-inch move. 2+ on the weapon skill and ballistic skill. The Stinger pistol is range 12, strength 2, AP 1, AP 0, 1 damage and a poisoned weapon on 2+. Homunculus tools, strength for the user, AP 0, 1 damage, poison 2+. The Ichor injector, you get 1 attack with a weapon. If it hits, it's a mortal wound. And this is a hand, strength for the user -2, poison 4+, extra 2 attacks. So I'm not too familiar with them. I'll move on. Lilith Hisbrax, well, they've redone the model. I actually think the older model was better for some reason. Great base work though. It's an Eldar Guardian with the helmet removed and a bare skull, looking very, very cool on the base. I'm not so keen on the model though. Just the posing, the face doesn't look quite right. But anyway, 5 wounds, 7 attacks. For her, Lilith's Blades is +1 strength, strength 4, AP -1, 1 damage. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, unmodified hit roll of 6 scores an additional hit. And then I'll go through this because this is the resculpt here, and we'll see the rules for her. So Blade Artist, Power from Pain. At last, a challenge. Each time this model makes a melee attack against a character unit, you can re-roll the hit roll and the wound roll. Very good. Blides of Death, it's an aura ability. Cult of Strife core units within 6 inches. Reroll wound rolls of 1. The Quicksilver Dodge, 4+ Invuln save. Each time a melee attack is made against this model, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. Deadly Dance. Each time this model makes a consolidation move, it can move an additional 3, and you can move in any direction you want. Natural Perfection. In your command phase, select one of the following. Thrilling Acrobatics. To the end of the turn, this model is eligible to declare a charge in turn in which it fell back or advanced. Nice. And then Gory Spectacle. In the fight phase of this turn, if this model destroys any enemy models, then at the end of that phase it can fight again. That is excellent. And you've got the no escape rule as well. And looks quite cheap. Power level 5. Drazar, Master of Blades. I imagine he's pretty much stayed as he is with him. 6 wounds, 5 attacks. Let's see if he gets to do that fight again ability. So you're getting inflated stat lines with these models, and abilities where they're getting to fight again as well. So it's Drukhari characters looking quite scary here. The Demiglaves, +2 strength for single blade, AP -3 and 3 damage. Or the dual blades, +1 strength, AP -3 and 2 damage. You get 2 additional attacks with that. Gets Blade Artist and Power from Pain. Murderous Assault, This model can be selected to fight an additional time each fight phase. It must be eligible to fight each time it is selected to do so. He just always gets to fight. Doesn't even have to charge or anything, just always gets it. It's ridiculous, like 10 attacks or 14 attacks if you're using the dual blades. An Ancient Warrior, each time an attack is allocated to this model, subtract one of the damage characteristic of that attack. He gets that as well. Okay, he's got a 4+ invuln save. I think he used to have a 5+. Tormentors at the start of the fight phase. Select one enemy unit within engagement range of this model and roll 2d6. If the result is greater than the enemy unit's leadership characteristic until the end of that phase, that unit is not eligible to fight until all other eligible units have done so. A Master of Blades, Incubi units within 6 inches. Make a melee attack, it's +1 to the attack's wound roll. +1 to wound. Brutal, deadly. Bizarre Master of Blades. Brilliant stuff here for the Drukhari. Azurian Rakarth here. It's toughness 5, 6 wounds, 5 attacks for him. Carbolight Warriors, 7-inch move, I think that's remained the same. Weapon skill, ballistic skill still 3+. 2 attacks base, so that's gone up. Squad leader getting 3 attacks and 4+ armor save. I'm sure they were 5+ previously. Blast pistol, yeah, blasters range 18. Same as before. The Dark Lance has changed. Range 36, heavy 1, strength 8 -4, and D3 +3 damage, not D6. Very good. The Phantasm Grenade Launcher, range 18, assault D3. Each time a unit is hit by this weapon, roll 2d6. If the result is higher than the leadership characteristic, it suffers a mortal wound. So 3d6. So you're rolling multiple 2d6s, I believe, for each hit roll, because you could get 3. It's an assault D3 weapon. A Shredder is range 18. Assault D6, strength 6, -1, 1 damage blast. Splinter Cannon is range 36, heavy 3, strength 3. It is AP -1, and it's 2 damage. Okay. Not rapid fire 3 anymore. It's poison 4+. Okay, Splinter Pistol. Usual. Splinter Rifle has dropped in strength now, so it's only strength 2. But poison 4+. Agonizer we've seen, Power Sword we've seen. Just giving you the loadout for them. Some stuff has changed around here. Witches then. What I'm looking at here is movement of 8. Weapon skill, ballistic skill remains the same. Attacks number has gone up. 3 attacks base for these now, 4 attacks for the Hecatrix. 6 up save, 6 up invuln save, 4+ invuln save in close combat. No escape rules. Blast pistol, Phantasm Grenade Launcher, Agonizer, Hecatari Blade. Does have an AP -1 on it as well. Plus the 6 is popping extra AP -1 also, so it's a massive improvement here. More attacks, more dangerous with their attacks as well. Do get the extra attacks now, looking at a base of 3 + 1 here. Hydra Gauntlets, yes, +2 strength, AP -2, 1 damage. You get an extra attack with that weapon as well. Razor Flowers, strength user, AP -1, 1 damage. Each time attack is made with this weapon, make 2 hit rolls instead of 1. So you're looking at like 6 attacks with that for a standard witch carrying one of those. Shardnet and Impaler, strength for the user, AP -2, 2 damage. Get an extra attack with that weapon as well. And Plasma Grenades. Grenade D6, strength 4, -1, 1 damage, and it's a blast weapon. Racks, I'm not too familiar with them, I'm not sure on the changes. They're a base of 2 attacks now, 3 attacks for the squad leader. Weapon skill, ballistic skill, 4+ for them. The Court of the Archon. So not too familiar with these. Lamayan, Medusa, Slith and an Urgul. It's all of them are 3+ weapon skill, ballistic skill. They're all 3 wounds. I'll move through these. I think each individual rules for them. We'll move on to Incubi, or Incubi. They all come with a standard 2+ weapon skill as standard now. Fantastic. 1 wound each, still for Incubus. Clavex is 2 wounds. Base of 3 attacks, 4 for the squad leader. Leadership of 9 for the squad leader, all 3 up. Armor saves. The single blade is +2 strength, 8 -3 and 2 damage. The dual blade is +1 strength, -2 and 2 damage. Each time the bearer fights, you get 2 additional attacks. Yeah, with the dual blades. And then the clave, that's the demi-claves, and the clave is +2 strength, 8 -3 and 2 damage. Yep, lethal precision. Whilst the unit contains the Clavex, the squad leader, each time melee attack is made by a model in this unit, a modified wound roll of 6 is add 1 to the damage characteristic of that attack. So like damage 3. Then tormentors as well. That's forcing the enemy unit to fight last. Trying to beat the enemy's leadership on 2d6. Mandrakes, always have my eye on these. Maybe a resculpt in plastic required from Games Workshop. Movement 8, 3 attacks base, 4 for the squad leader. The Bow Blast is range 18, assault 2, strength 4, -1 damage. Add a modified wound rolls of 6, inflicts a mortal wound in addition. 5+ invuln save for these, they can fade away. Once per battle at the start of movement phase, you can remove this unit from the battlefield, and then in the reinforcement step of your next movement phase, you can set them up deep striking more than 9 inches away from enemy models. They've got Blade Artist, Power from Pain, from out of the shadows during deployment when you set up this unit. During deployment when you set up this unit, it can be set up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from enemy deployment zone and enemy models. That's very close you can get, and if you're going to get a turn, if you go first, you can get to movement 8, so you're going to be just over an inch away from the enemy target. Shrouded from sight. Each time an attack targets this unit, subtract 1 from the attack's hit roll. Yeah, Mandrakes, I think they've got their uses. Very good. Grotesques, I'm not so sure on them. Wouldn't know what changes have taken place. The Beastmaster, the same thing. Clawed Fiends. 4 wounds, 5 attacks each, strength 5, toughness 5. The Clawed Fists, strength the user rating -2 and 2 damage. The Razorwing Flocks. 4 attacks base, 4 wounds. Chimerae. 3 attacks. Claws and talons, +1 strength, rating -1 damage. Reavers. Okay, so this is your Drukhari jetbikes. They've still got range or movement 18. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 3+. Still got toughness 4, 2 wounds each. 3 attacks base, and 4 attacks for the squad leader. Yes, the Heat Lance. It is range 18, heavy ones. It is strength 8 now. Now let me think, which one? Yes, it was the Heat Lance that used to be strength 6. It was something like strength 6, AP -5, something like that, D6 damage. The Heat Lance is now, I might end up dropping my blasters here because I actually sculpted it with the Heat Lance. Range 18, heavy 1, strength 8 now, -4, D6 +2 damage. Nice, it's proper melter type weapon now. Blade Veins is +1 strength, AP -1 damage. Great, the Heat Lance has taken a big upgrade there, very good. Now, there's something else I want to see what's changed, because Cluster Caltrops and Grav Talons were pretty poor previously. You're getting your 8-inch advance, by the way. You don't need to roll. So there's that. So Cluster Caltrops. Each time an enemy unit within engagement range of the bearer falls back, roll 1d6 on a 4+, the unit suffers a mortal wound. That's it. Ugh. Gotta be something better for that. And then Grav Talon. Each time the bearer, maybe if you've got multiple Cluster Caltrops, but it's not that scary. After the bearer makes a charge move, select one enemy unit within engagement range of them, roll 1d6. On a 4+, it takes a mortal wound, on a 6 it's d3, so it's not much has changed with those. Hellions, one of the most forsaken Drukhari units. Great concept, but They can now partake in the eviscerating flyby, I believe, so that's pretty good. They are movement 14, so they're still pretty quick. Got a 5+ save, 3 attacks base, and they're 2 wounds a time, actually, for them, which I don't think they were previously. Got a Phantasm Grenade Launcher, Splinter Pistols, so what we're looking for is the Heliglaive. So this +1 strength now, AP -1 and 2 damage, I think that's remained the same. We're going to get the Blade Artist, you might get a bit extra AP- on that. The Stun Claw is +1 strength, AP 0, 2 damage. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, a modified wound roll of 6 inflicts a mortal wound in addition. And they've got hit and run. This unit is able to charge in a turn in which it fell back, if they survive, because they're so flimsy. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Still don't know about them. Scourges next. Still 1 wound at a time, including the squad leader. 14-inch move. 4+ save. The Ghost Plate Armour gives them 5+ invuln save. You can deep strike in, as per usual. And just checking the weapons. Dark Lance we've already covered. Yeah, Heat Lance. The Shard Carbine is Assault 3. Strength 2, Poison 4+. No AP- and 1 damage. Got a Power Lance here. It's a melee weapon. +2 strength, -2, 1 damage. And that's it. The Talos, not too familiar with them here. Or the Kronos. The Ravager. Much has changed. Doesn't look like anything's changed in the profile. I've covered Disintegrator Cannon then. Range 36, heavy 3. Strength 5, -3 and 2 damage. The Blade Veins that the vehicle's equipped with, fighting at weapon skill 4+, unmodified throughout the game. 3 attacks, base down to D3 and then 1. +1 strength, AP -1, 1 damage. If you go for any upgrades, Chain Snares is add 3 to the bearer's attacks characteristic. That makes them not too badish in close combat. Grizzly Trophies, the bearer gains the following ability. Grizzly Trophies aura, whilst enemy units in 3 inches, subtract 2 from their leadership. And then Shock Prow, the bearer has the Shock Prow keyword. And that is quite a scary upgrade, that one. And you can put it on the Ravager. Yes. So, what we've got here is the Night Shield, 5+ invuln save. And that's it. It's not too much going on with that one. Dark Lances are more reliable with the damage. The Raider. You can give it a Shock Prow. Very good. And the Splinter Axe ability. Each time a model embarks this transport, makes attack with a rapid fire weapon. Treat the target as being within half range. So you can fire at range 24 and count as being in rapid fire range. So that's pretty good. Not too bad at all. Open tops, hovering, so on and so on. The Venom. It keeps its -1 to hit rolls for the flicker field. Yep. 5+ invuln save, -1 to hit roll. 6 wounds, tough as 5, 3 attacks as base. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for that one. The Razor Wing Jet Fighter. Now I'm hoping for the flyers that the missiles have improved. They're quite tame, they may have upgraded them here. There's nothing really changing on the profile. 72-inch move on that thing. Dark Lance is obviously improved along with the Disintegrator Cannons. The Razor Wing Missiles, right, so the Monocyte Missile, range 48, assault D6, strength 6, -0, 2 damage and blast. The Necrotoxin Missile, assault 3D3, strength 2 but it's poison 2+, 1 damage, AP 0. And the Shatterfield Missile, assault D6, strength 7, -2, 1 damage, blast. Yes, okay. Not that amazing, not really improved very much. That's the usual. The Void Raven Bomber. So the Void Lance, or Dark Side first of all, range 24, heavy 3, strength 8, -4, 2 damage. Or you go for the Void Lance, which will be, just upgraded it to D3 + 3 damage and it keeps the strength 9. Heavy one. The Void Raven Missiles, you can go for Assault D3, range 48, strength 6, -3 and 2 damage, blast. Or Shatterfield Missiles, as we've seen before. And then the Void Mine. Once per battle in your imp phase, after the bearer makes an all move or advances, you can select 1 point on the battlefield the bearer moved across. Roll 1d6 for each unit within 6 inches of that point. So it's like a proper bomb dropping down now. You're not picking a unit, you're actually picking a point on the board. So roll 1d6 for each unit within 6 inches of that point, subtracting 1 if it's a character. Oh no, 4+, the unit suffers D6 mortal wounds. Oh dear, don't. Be careful not to pack units too tight here if you drop a void mine on top. So once per battle, in your movement phase, after the bearer makes a normal move or advances, you can select 1 point on the battlefield the bearer moved across. Roll 1d6 for each unit within 6 inches of that point, subtracting 1 if it's a character. So even vehicles, it's 4+ to hit them. If you get those hits, it's D6 mortal wounds. That's ridiculous. I think I'm going to keep the 2 of these in my list. God, dear me. 12 wounds for this model as well. Well. Scary stuff from the Void Raven Bomber. Fantastic model as well. So cool to have these jets available for Drukhari. And then that's it. Then on to points values. So Archons are 65 points a time. The Blast Pistol's still 5 points. Drazar he's 135 points now. Thermoculus 80. Lilith is 90. Succubus is 60 points. Cheap. Rakaf's 100. Carbonite Warriors 8 points each. Blasters 10 points a time. Dark Lance 15. God. Cheap stuff. Witches are 10 points. Racks are 8. I'm not going to cover all the points here. Beastmasters and Court of the Archon. Grotesques, Incubi are 16 points a time. Mandrakes are 15 points a time. Hellions are 17 points each. No, I don't want to go for those. Reavers are 10 points each. That's... Hang on a second. 10 points each. The Heat Lance is 10 points. Crazy. Scourges 12 points a time, that's pretty cheap as well. The Ravagers 140 points plus your upgrades, which are 5 points a time. Talos is 110, the Kronos is 70, the Raider is 85, Venoms are 65 plus your stuff on top. The Razorwing Jet Fighter is 160 and the Void Raven Bomber is 185 points. And if you're going to take the missiles, it's 15 points, making it a 200 point model, so the flyers are quite expensive. But points costs... There's your rules summaries. So points costs, cheap stuff really. In the Succubus, for example, you can turn it into an absolute killer and it's going to cost you 60 points. And you don't have to pay any points here for any other upgrades. Madness, that is. And now I just want to have a little look at something here. Yeah, the Agonizers can be swapped out for a blast pistol, for example. You're not paying any points for it. And the Succubus can actually take Hydra Gauntlets and Razor Flowers, or a Shardnet and Impaler. How interesting. Okay. So, yeah, just checking that. There's all sorts of different things going on here. But that is the review then for the Drukhari Codex. I've obviously not used them in games. I've not seen anyone use them in games yet, but from going through this, Drukhari look to be better than what they were before. There's more availability, there's more variety going on, way more combinations going in place. They've got some golden nugget stratagems, some powerful warlord traits and relics. Points costs seem to be pretty reasonable, and a lot of the units have received upgrades, more attacks. Better armor saves and so on. So Drukhari looking, they've got the speed, they've got the firepower, they've got units that can hit in close combat. So this is an army that I think is going to be very dangerous in 9th edition. That's just my predictions. Leave your own comments below if you've, as you've listened to the rules here and rules have been discussed in other places. Leave your own comments and feedback, especially from those who are experienced Drukhari players. What do you think of the new book? Whether you think it's excellent, mediocre or poor. What combinations do you think are going to be good? Be great to hear that in the comments section below. Other Drukhari players can join in the conversation. Ones new to collecting Drukhari can learn from what you're saying as well. So that is what's open for discussion here. But Drukhari, I think, are pretty. This looks to be another very well thought out. Some of the mechanics that Games Workshop have come up with this, some of the rules, sound really good fun, really interesting, and maybe will have a great impact during the game as well. That's the review for the Drukhari Codex. Keep a lookout for more reviews on the channel. Check out gamingfigures.com. You can get your discount 40k stuff. They're the channel sponsor here on the channel, and keep a lookout for more reviews in the future. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time.